own force.
Revolution.
Welcome back to Inconvenient Vedic Truths. We're going to talk about yoga, the meaning of yoga. So, of course, everyone knows the word yoga, but it's actually a Sanskrit word that's come into the English language, which means to connect. Just like in English, we have the word yoke. It's the same root. So you yoke something like a yoke a plough to a tractor. That is yoking or connecting. So yoga means to connect, but to connect to what? Well, ultimately to the source, the supreme, Ishvara, Bhagavan, God, whatever you want to call that. But the same texts give the same understanding in a deeper way of what that source is. But the text that talks specifically about Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, the physical process to get there, that doesn't necessarily give the full detail of the goal of that process. So Ashtanga Yoga, Ashta is 8 and Anga is limbs, so the 8-limb or 8-fold path of yoga starts with yam, niyam, the do's and the don'ts. So like, rise early, don't sleep too much, don't eat too much, don't engage too much in sense gratification, unnecessarily activities, things like that. So that forms the basis. Then the third part is asana. So that's the postures. So a lot of people think that yoga is just the postures, but yoga, that's just one part out of the 8-fold process. So it's just been sort of condensed down mostly to the postures. But the postures are then supposed to bring you to the next stage, which is pranayama. So the control of the breath, so that the life air within the body, when that's all flowing nicely, then the mind becomes peaceful, and then the higher stages is withdrawing the mind and the senses, engaging in meditation, and then the last stage, the 8th stage, is samadhi, or total absorption, or trance, or sama is equal to the word same, sama, and then di is consciousness, sometimes we call chi. So samadhi is to have absolute pure equal consciousness. Another thing in yoga, it says chitta vritti nirodha. One of the things that it does is to stop the turnings of the mind, stop the mind from wandering here, there and everywhere, jumping everywhere. In this day and age, our minds are so distracted, so yoga and meditation brings that down. But the goal of the meditation itself, to meditate on what? You don't just meditate on the breath. So pranayama is controlling the breath, but you don't meditate on the breath. The whole purpose of the meditation is, again, to meditate on the Supreme, on the controller. Now, in the Satya Yuga, millions of years ago, it's a Kritya Dhyatyo Vijnam, that in that age, that process of yoga, they're meditating on Vishnu as the Paramatma or Supersoul within the heart. So that's meant for the previous age. That's not possible really in this age. We're not able to get to that stage of just silent meditation and seeing the Paramatma within the heart by that process. So different processes for different ages. This age, Kalota Hari Kirtana. So the whole purpose in this age, the way to actually understand everything and to attain perfection is Hari Kirtan. Hari is a name for the Supreme or Krishna. And Kirtan is glorification. Either glorification can be in the name, chanting the name as in Kirtan, or japa meditation. But any kind of glorification also, like if you're reading the knowledge and spreading the knowledge, that's also Kirtan glorification. So that's the whole process in this age, is Hari Kirtan. So people don't really understand what the purpose of yoga is. They go to a yoga class and you may feel better, like going to the gym somewhat, feel a bit peaceful, then you come out, but then you don't really know what to do. A lot of people are just going to go out of the gym and then go back home, switch the TV on, have a wine or a beer, maybe eat a burger. Who knows, maybe some people are more serious about the lifestyle, but yeah, a lot of people, they're not taking yoga as seriously as it should be, and attaining the goal of yoga, just using yoga for the material gain really. so you've got a better chance of enjoying the material life. Well, you can't really enjoy the material world when you understand that the material world is not meant for our enjoyment. It's very limited and temporary, just the sensual enjoyment. There's only so much you can squeeze out of it. But the real pleasure within are the ananda, the bliss. That is what we're looking for. That's the pleasure we need. But yoga won't give you that just by doing the postures, but it can be a foundation. I recommend everyone to try yoga and meditation, breath control, because then it puts you in a peaceful state of mind. Then you can really understand, begin the process of, well, what to do with that peaceful mind. So then the process that we engage in as Vaishnavas is mainly chanting, mantra meditation. So once the mind's very peaceful, then you can engage in it, and then the mind becomes more peaceful. But beyond just the peace, is you're going to start attaining the ananda, the bliss. So that's above and beyond the peace, or even the liberation from anxiety and suffering. Is this ananda, and that is anandam buddhivardhanam, which means ever increasing. There's no limit to it. There's very much a limit to material enjoyment. The more you do something, it diminishes. So usually people become more and more entangled and more degraded in material activities, because you're trying to get the same pleasure, but you've got diminishing returns. But the opposite is true of spiritual bliss. The more you attain it, then the more you actually experience it, because as we become purified by the processes, then we become more of a conduit. We become clearer to for that bliss, for that to flow, and ultimately that's coming from connection with the source of all bliss, or Sri Krishna, the all-attractive person, who's always blissful. So we come in contact with the all-blissful, and we become blissful. Quite simple in that sense. Of course, there's a lot more to it also. But yeah, in the basic process, is that what we're doing? We're connecting. So yoga is the connection. Yoga isn't just the postures. You don't have to even do the postures or the breath control, but it can be beneficial. But the main thing is to engage in connecting with the Supreme, mainly through sound. Sound vibration is the best way, because all the potency is there in the name. Not like in this world, as the potency of the object is not contained in the name, it just refers to the object. But in the absolute realm, then the name and the named is the same. Abhinat vam nama namino. So there's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name. So there's all the potencies there, all the bliss, all the pleasure, all the knowledge, everything is contained. And the more we connect with that, then the more we actually start to experience that and realize that it's not just an idea of philosophy. Then we try it. It's just like you have to try something to know what it's like. You don't just hear about it. First you hear about it, but then you have to put it into practice and try it. You taste it. It's like food. You can taste it. You can't just hear about it and then understand it. Then we engage in it. So this is the real meaning of yoga. So yeah, you can do all the postures. You can do the breath control, and then you can sit. And then you can do the process of this age of mantra meditation, or you can skip the first process and just do it. But personally, I think it's beneficial to do the other ones and put yourself in a better state. Just like some of the do's and don'ts, it would be like to rise early. If you rise early in the morning, you don't sleep too much, then you're much fresher. And in those morning hours is the best time to meditate. If you sleep until like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after heavy drinking, there's not got much chance of controlling the mind and meditation. Even if you did go to a yoga class. So yeah, the preliminary things are there. It's much better not to take any alcohol or any meat intoxication, things like this, or cut down and minimize as much as possible. And then we're much more able to meditate and get the mind in a state of peaceful sort of state where it's undisturbed. So there's the real meaning of yoga and the perfection of yoga. Even in Patanjali Sutras, he said samadhi, siddhi, ishvara, pranidhan, that the perfection of that last stage of samadhi is to be absorbed in the Ishvara, or the supreme controller, topmost person. So even Patanjali said that. Sometimes people think Patanjali had nothing to do with God. No, but he didn't. He was just specifically giving a process of yoga, focusing on that. But then he said, and then the goal of that is Ishvara Pranidhan. And then the same in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna to Arjuna, 18 different chapters. Every single chapter is a type of yoga. And then the last one, 18th, is sannyas yoga, or complete renunciation. And then in that he says, always think of me, become my devotee, offer respects to me and worship me, and being absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. And then the last verse he says, Sarva Dhamma Parijjaya, abandon all varieties of Dharma or religion, abandon everything else, just surrender unto me. So again, that's the same thing that Patanjali is saying, is the goal of that yoga, is complete absorption, complete surrender, and complete samadhi or trance in connection with the Supreme Personality, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So yeah, give it a try. Mantra meditation or yoga. At least try yoga and meditation, calm the mind, and then try chanting the names, the Maha Mantra, especially the greatest mantra for deliverance. And yeah, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna.